Tonight, striking nurses turn to government for its decision not to include their agreed upon conditions of service into the 2025 budget, describing government as insensitive.
But then again, you don't put it in the budget merely because you've met it. There are many things that were in the pipeline at the time that we took over. There were things that the previous government were doing that we have not continued.
The people that we are dealing with do not understand the nuances of the health continuum. Do you know the work of a nurse in a hospital? And you think that you can read a budget and advertently or inadvertently decide not to include condition of service that has been signed.
We have details as leadership of the nurses are locked up in a crunch meeting to decide whether to call off their strike or not amidst government's continued refusal to heed to their demands. We speak to our stakeholders related to this particular matter here on Top Story brought to you. So we'll bring you all the details, plus speak to all stakeholders who matter in this story on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies. Now, tonight, leadership of Ghana Nurses and Midwives Association are locked up in a crunch meeting to decide whether to call off their strike or not amidst government's continued refusal to heed their demands. This is coming on the back of government's continued refusal to grant their wishes. After the refusal, the National Executive Committee of the GNA is now taking a decision whether to end the strike or continue. We'll bring you an update on that particular meeting shortly. But first, we're learning the government intentionally took a decision not to include a demand in the 2025 budget. Listen to Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, explain this to Evans Mensah on PM Express.
We were hoping that they would be willing to come to the negotiation table for these discussions to be had. We still retain hope that they will do so. But in the interim, it is necessary.
Surely.
Oh, of course. But then again.
So why wasn't it in the budget?
But then again, you see, you don't put it in the budget merely because you've met it. There are many things that were in the pipeline at the time that we took over. There were things that the previous government were doing that we have not continued because we've done an assessment and found that it will be more deleterious to our interests rather than beneficial if they were continued. I don't know whether you've seen the conditions of service as a whole. Indeed, the Deputy Finance Minister today pegged the quantum of resources required to do that annually at 2 billion Ghana cedis. I have seen some estimates that put it higher than that. Now, the question that immediately arises is whether or not the national budget can absorb it.
But we can't absorb 2 billion Ghana cedis.
Yes, but can it be absorbed regarding the specific group of people who are asking for it? Bearing in mind that there are other categories of public sector workers who also have needs that government must meet. So these are considerations that were factored into the equation. Also, because it is not in the 2025 budget, it is important that discussions are had to look for ways to address it. Because one of the reasons why we are at a juncture, or we got to a place where hardships became pervasive in this country, were fiscal slippages, which arose out of mostly unbudgeted expenditure. So you can't put that quantum of unbudgeted expenditure on yourself because you are likely going to record deficits.
You said unbudgeted, but it was a choice you made not to budget for it.
But the point I'm making is that given that discussions have not been concluded and we have not arrived at a place where we could comfortably add it to the national budget, it was necessary to hold further deliberations.
Well, this obviously hasn't gone down well with the striking nurses and midwives. Listen to the General Secretary of the Ghana Nurses and Midwives Association, David Tenkrine, express their frustration at the posture of government.
But I'm saying that I don't want the ordinary Ghanaian to think that we are targeting them or this call of action is intended to put them in any harm's way or to see to the demise of Ghanaians. Let me tell you something. The nurses and midwives are not immune. to disease conditions. As I speak with you, we as vulnerable as any other. Okay, we are not unique.
Okay,
so
but I mean, Doc, I hear you clearly that you definitely are not going to tell me what's going to contain in that proposal. I mean, sooner or later we'll know what's in that proposal. But surely you can for sure tell me that deferring it to 2026 is not part of that proposal, at least on top of your mind.
can even contemplate. In fact, we will not, in our least contemplation, think about that. It appears as if the people of Ghana, and especially the people that we are dealing with, do not understand the nuances of the health continuum. Do you know the work of a nurse in a hospital? And you think that you can read a budget and advertently or inadvertently decide not to include condition of service that have been signed.
So David Tinkran is the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association there. But government is proposing to include the approved conditions of service in the 2026 budget because per their analysis, it wasn't going to be possible in the 2025 budget. But will there be fiscal space for it next year? Lead research and data analyst here. Joe News, Isaac Kofi J joins me. He's been going through the data and joins me in studio with some more details. Kofi, what do we know, or what's the data telling us?
Well, Kojo, so we are trying to actually understand this based on the indicative figures that the government itself provided in the 2025 budget. And so this year, for instance, government is hoping to spend some 76 billion Ghana cedis as compensation for employees. And if you go down deeper, you will see that about 68.2 billion Ghana cedis of that will go into salaries and wages. Now, this figure, which is a 68.2 billion cedis, is expected to be increased by some 16.99% in 2026. Again, this is indicative. And if you look at, the percentage change between 2024 and this year, that was around 19.65%, which means that this year compensation of employees budget actually has gone up in terms of the budgetary allocation compared to how much is expected to go up in 2026. And again, this is an indicative figure that the government is given in the 2025 budget. And so the clear indication we are getting based on the indicative figures is that this budget is expected to go up by, in monetary terms, we are talking about some 11.59 billion Ghana cedis next year.
Wow. And so the nurses' conditions can be accommodated in that budget?
Definitely. If you look at 11.6 billion Ghana cedis, and the finance minister said if they decide to go ahead and implement the entire aid demands in full, that could cost government 2 billion. And so if that is anything to go by, we definitely will know that this figure will possibly change, or sometimes, usually based on what we know, it inches upwards. And so if you are talking about, let's say, 13 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 increment, then definitely this could be, a framework that could house that 2 billion, that the government's actually estimating. But Kojo, we are also learning based on fresh data that we are getting from the GRNA's own website. They've updated their website and now put their total membership at 120,333. Now, we've been trying to crunch the numbers, trying to understand the percentage of this with respect to, or as compared to the total licensed nurses in the system. And what we are understanding based on this figure given is that the nurses who are on strike are currently about 70% of the total number of licensed nurses that we have in the country. So it simply means that 7 out of the 10 nurses, every 10 nurses that you actually select in the country are on strike. Just about 3 of them are at post currently.
That's staggering. Thank you very much, Isaac Kofi J. This is still Top Story here on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's broaden the discussion and bring in Samuel Akolgo. He's first vice president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Now, we understand that you were in a meeting to consider the fate of your strike. What's the update?
Good evening to you, and then good evening to our listeners. Yes, it is true that we had planned to hold a meeting this morning. Later, we shifted it to the afternoon, but now we are going to meet this evening.
Oh, okay.
Because we needed to do some further engagement so that it can form our discussion.
So what is the further engagement pointing to?
We are looking at a situation where, you see, the conditions of service is such that there are some that can be immediate. There are others that can be staggered for a period. We have an arrears of 1 year. That can also be staggered in one way or the other. So we are looking at the various scenarios so that we will also, because our earlier counter proposal was rejected. And we can't say because it was rejected, we should still stand by that. So we are also looking at ways by which we will be able to come out with something that at least will put some small comfort for our members who are currently very angry because of some of the negative propaganda that government machinery is putting out.
I'm getting that there's a bit of noise at where you are. If you can reposition yourself for me, I'll be grateful. So
all right, that's fine.
Exactly. So you're making a point about your members being angry at the position of government.
Yes. They are very angry because, for instance, we've seen a document circulating around that is the demands of GRNS, and they did the calculations about 4 billion. These are either pro-government communicators or our employers themselves that have thrown that out.
Well, Mr. Kojo, I'm losing you, but in fact, government has said per their calculation it will be around 2 billion, not 4 billion.
That is not accurate.
Okay.
That is not accurate. And then
But if that is not accurate, which is accurate?
We believe we are yet to do our own computation because we didn't know that they will come out with this. Because if you take a cursory look at the conditions of service or the allowances, majority of them are one-time payment. It's paid once in a year. And if you don't have money to now, maybe August you have money, you can pay book and research allowance. If you don't have money now, maybe September, you can pay uniform allowance. Fuel allowance is the only one that is continuous. There are other ones. It is the facility that will determine whether they can pay you that or not. It's not coming from central government. So the posture of government that they want to implement our conditions of service, of which other people are already enjoying. Have you taken time to get the conditions of service of other health professionals?
Is the book and research allowance part of your demands?
It's part of our demands because we have our intellectual wing, that is the nurse educators, who are teaching in the tertiary institutions. But there's a criteria. It's not everybody who is teaching in those institutions that will get. You must have a research master's or PhD. A majority of them don't have. So what is it? Is this too much once a year?
But mustn't the universities and colleges within which they teach be where they will be fighting for book and research allowance? For example, if they belong to UTAC could be fighting for them to get their book and research allowance and not GRNMA, or?
The UTAC, we have some of our members who are with UTAC, but others are not with UTAC. We have others with GRNMA who are holding PhD and are teaching tertiary programs, diploma, degree, and masters.
So what are some of these conditions contained in your approved conditions of service that you say? Yes. So run us through. Let's understand.
Let me just run you through. The document is such that if you remember, we have category 2 and 3 allowance. that one was negotiated by the Joint Public Sector Negotiation Committee. So that one is applicable to all public sector workers. It is not only for nurses. But by complexity, we decided to add it in our booklet as part of our conditions of service, so that when you pick it, it will, at least you know what is in it. So let me go through what our allowances are. Book and research allowance, that's number one. Number two is book and research allowance. It's one payment in a year. Number two is uniform allowance. It is one payment for the year. Fuel allowance, which is meant for only the three last grades of the nursing profession: midwifery and nursing, principal midwifery and nursing officer, deputy chief nursing officer, and chief nursing officer. This is a insignificant number. It is not going for everybody. Then we go to the non-basic. The non-basic is a periodic adjustment of our market premium, which was frozen in 2012. It was supposed to be running with the salary, but it got to a stage, government said it was becoming difficult for them to pay, so they will stage it. So from time to time, we'll go in to negotiate something to compensate for that. And that is the non-basic 8% allowance. That one goes to everybody. If an average nurse is getting about 3,000, 8% of 3,000 is how much? Now let's move to on-call facilitation allowance. We have some of us, when you work your normal hours and close, they will still call you to come back and perform certain emergencies. And we know these are the specialized areas. It is also not for every nurse. It is for those in those specialized areas, especially when you are in a place where you are alone or you are few and you cannot cover. But if you are in a big institution where there is a cover, that will not come in. So it shouldn't be a challenge. Rural incentive allowance. We've been complaining that nurses don't accept postings in the rural area. We ourselves.
So you are calling on government to give you that. Hold on line for me. Let me bring in the NLC. Julia Puaovi is with the Public Affairs Department of the NLC. Julia, we understand that the High Court, Industrial and Labour Division 2 in Accra, granted an application for substituted service, allowing you to serve an interlocutory injunction notice on the nurses. Have you been able to do that?
Yes, we have. We did that yesterday. We have been able to serve the notice on the High Court notice board as well as the entrances of the union's officers. We've also been able to serve the President's Blue Hair WhatsApp number as well as the General Secretary as well. And that was done yesterday.
Since you did that, have you had any indication from the association, of what they will be doing, whether they will respect that or not?
We are still monitoring the media landscape as well. What information is there for us?
Okay, all right. I'm grateful to you, for this update there. We'll try and bring back Akol Go again because we understand that the meeting will be tonight. We want to understand what indications they are picking from their members. But let me bring in Deputy Ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Patrick Boachi Yadom. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining here. Now, you made a commitment the other time we spoke to you on this subject that the Health Committee was going to invite parties to try and negotiate a truce. Where are you with that effort of yours?
Well, good evening, and my greetings to everyone. I get more that every day there's for. Yesterday, Health Committee met, and we agreed we will summon all the participants to a meeting tomorrow morning. Our issue and our purpose is simple. to bring the feeding back to a compromise. We are not happy with the trend taken by government and taken by the union. So, we are in June. There's a window of opportunity where the finance minister will come to Parliament next month to do the mid-year budget. Please, we are pleading with government, factor this agreement in the budget review. And we are also pleading with the striking nurses to also transfer justice with mercy. And once their concerns are taken on board and factored in the mid-year budget review, they quickly go back to them. We can't continue to battle. The outcome is not good for everybody. So we are not too happy with the posture of government. We are also not too happy with the posture of the striking workers. So as a committee, play our neutral role and try to bring them to a compromise, and then we'll move forward.
But
That is what we have agreed so far.
But so have you, in the meantime, though, tried to get your finance minister to see whether or not that can be accommodated? Because government has made it clear, getting this in the 2025 budget will be hard for the government, even though you make mention of the mid-year budget. Have you sought an audience with him to understand whether or not this can be possible?
My brother, what will happen? All that we are seeing, anytime government makes a sector or an initiative a priority, they're able to look for money. In the budget of 2025, there was no mention of new tax to generate additional revenue for government. We woke up one day, and throughout the day, the midnight, the government was able to secure a 1 cedi tax on every liter of petrol or fuel. So if government health as a priority, we should be able to adjust and create a fiscal space to accommodate these levels. My brother, if you look at the budget of 2025, there's been allocation for compensation for office of the president. I'm talking about Jubilee. A whole amount of 2.7 billion Ghana cedis, as opposed to a mere 327 million Ghana cedis for last year. We are talking about a situation where we have a supposedly lean government. So why should a lean government be paid or be allocated a higher, like 8 times what was given the previous year? So I always insist that once government finds a priority, an issue a priority, they look for money. Here, nurses are very, very important. They form the focus when it comes to hospital budget. Without nurses, what is it? They are the focus. So they connect all the different work, doctors, by laboratory scientists, by pharmacists, by everybody in the hospital sector. So we cannot allow these nurses to stay at home while we lose life every minute. So my brother, we are not happy with the situation, and we think we need to strike a compromise somewhere. And I'm hoping that tomorrow we will let cool heads prevail, and then we'll look in the eyes of the public and do what is needed.
Well, the nurses, we understand, will be meeting tonight. As a committee which is trying to call a truce between the stakeholders, you expect that at the end of the day, the nurses will call off the strike?
We are hoping. We've done it before. Some years ago, we did the laboratory science, medical science. So we hope that tomorrow we'll be able to strike a deal. And I'm hoping that they will come with fresh minds. At least this is the second week of the strike. We should enter the third week. It will be disastrous for us. So we impress upon them. We appeal to them. We appeal to their conscience, both the side of government and the side of the strike. And I'm praying that something better comes out of tomorrow, so that we'll save ourselves there.
Okay, I'm grateful to you, Dr. Patrick Boachi. He is the deputy ranking on the Health Committee of Parliament today. He says they will do everything they can to ensure that they get the truth. But we're also learning that the nurses and midwives will be having a meeting tonight to decide on the fate of this particular strike. Whether or not they are calling it off or not, we'll get to see by end of day. But Dr. George Smith Graham is with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. He is the acting chief executive officer. Let's bring him in to understand what they are doing as well. Doc, I'm grateful to you. Now, from your end, you've heard the nurses. What are you doing also to ensure that this is resolved?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your listeners. I think when the issue came up, we quickly invited them to a meeting. On the 9th, we had an engagement with them. Although not all the top executives were there, at least they had their representation there. So we had an engagement with them. We put a proposal before them. Then after the proposal, they indicated to us that they will have to go back to their National Council and come back to us. So as we sit here now, they've not gotten back to us. So we are waiting to hear from them, and then we take it on from there.
So it's until after this strike is called off that you can engage them. But
no, we will engage them anytime they get to us. Although we know that legally it is not right, it will not be proper for us to engage them, but we will engage them because I'm here in the country because of this strike to be able to resolve the strike. So we will resolve the. If any time they want to come to us, we will engage them. So.
Okay, all right. We understand that they will be meeting tonight, so we will be looking forward to see the outcome of this particular meeting. I'm grateful, sir, for speaking to us.
Thank you.
So that is the acting chief executive officer of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel Connecting Energies. Up next is Newsnight.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, more trouble for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. As Joy News learns, IOCO and NIB are both looking for him with separate active investigations.
It means that there's a suspicion, and we are investigating to establish whether the suspicion is founded or is true or not. So if you ask me whether he's involved, I won't be able to speak to that, but I know there are investigations concerning him in the circles of IOCO.
We have details as the Deputy Attorney General confirms the office is assisting the Special Prosecutor to locate, detain, and extradite Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana. You want to stay with us for the latest on that also tonight. Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited fumes at what it calls warrantless and unjustified raid on its offices by the Office of the Special Prosecutor, accusing the operatives of brutally assaulting its staff.
Yesterday was a terrifying moment for our staff. No engagement, no warrant, just force. They broke through security doors to dismantle all the servers and IT infrastructure. You come to the premises, you ask in field officers who are going to the field to give password to servers, and you assault them with guns and slaps. It was a complete target of destruction. It was a betrayal of trust and a frightening message.
Also tonight, MP for Ifijasa Sokore, Dr. Nana Uefriye, is off the hook as Speaker Abban Babin rules out possibility of referring him to the Privileges Committee following clash with First Deputy Speaker on Tuesday.
This is not a matter to be referred to any committee. It's a matter that I've discussed with leadership, and we've agreed that it should be resolved. And we will resolve it here openly.
We have details plus reactions from both majority and minority leaders. in business.
Service describes first quarter growth estimates as signs that the economy is recovering, but downplays the impact of current global tariff war on the economy.
And in sports, we hear from the CEO of Golden Cakes FC ahead of their game against Kumasi Asante Kotoko in the MTN FA Cup final, expressing confidence in his team's ability to claim the victory.
I want to join us with your views, comments here on Newsnight 055 1111997. Details after this.
Telecel Cash has the lowest transfer charges ever in Ghana. Send a keke with Telecel Cash. You for sort out your old boy, send a keke. Your girl debut you, send a keke. Merchant payments, send a keke to all networks. T-Cash agents in Swaji baby. You won't buy some 1212. Send a keke. And even better, T-Cash to T-Cash transfers are still free on the Telecel Play app. Telecel Cash is a secure and convenient platform for cash transfers across all networks and anywhere mobile money transactions are made. Dial *110# to send money at the lowest charges ever, or download the Telecel Play app to send cash to T-Cash wallets for free. Telecel Cash. Send the keke.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me da with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
He's here, uncle.
Oi, you man, look at you, all grown up, innit? So good to see you, fam. I miss you so much. So good to be back home, bruv, innit? I can see a lot has changed, mate. Home sweet home, innit?
Sit down and let me serve you something delicious.
The food is looking good, fam.
Of course, some things never change. Just like how Gino tomato mix still gives my food that rich color and unique natural taste every time.
Hey, sister, Papupun Sanwan Kasa. Just like I remember. Inquire, Jollof Nidia, Jaika, a yet Danka Sankasa.
Hey, and Tedrena Nama Ukasana Sisa Sisi.
Say Gino, dear, if fee. This advert is FDA approved.
You're so live, you're on Newsnight. It's on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, former Finance Minister Kenneth Oriatta is in more trouble tonight. Joy News has confirmed he is now also wanted by both the Economic and Organized Crimes Office and the National Investigations Bureau, NIB. Both agencies have opened active investigations into Oriatta's dealings as a finance minister. More on that shortly from the Deputy Attorney General, Justice Sremsai, who has been speaking to Joy News in the PM Express interview to be aired later tonight. He first confirms the Attorney General's active assistance to the Special Prosecutor to track down, detain, and extradite Mr. Oriatta.
The OSP, as we know, is having difficulty having the former minister, come to assist in investigations. That we all know for months. It gets to a point where we can't wait anymore because everything is time bound. And so the OSP decide that they will seek international assistance. That's the Red Notice Alert. The Red Notice Alert is to tell everyone, all parties to the Interpol, treaty, that if you find this person in your jurisdiction, you can assist us to bring him back to face, justice in Ghana. And assistance comes in so many forms. So you can arrest him and keep him temporarily. Beyond that, there must be a formal extradition process to have the person. So the fact that you're on the red notice is not automatic that there's an arrest warrant for which you'll be extradited. There must be a separate extradition process which will now assist, or wherever you are found, then we can trigger that for you to be arrested. You go through extradition proceedings in the country, and then you are shipped to Ghana to face prosecution. So in that respect, it's the Office of Attorney General that, helps with extradition. We assist all the agencies to deal with our foreign partners, how to arrest and bring that. So we are currently in the process of taking steps to have him extradited to Ghana, wherever he's found.
Because you have an extradition treaty with the U.S.
Yes.
We have an understanding with the U.S. What does the law prescribe that you do in this specific case?
So first of all, the crime must be crime in both countries. So whatever we are asking him to come and face must be crime, not just in Ghana, but also in the country that he is found. And then we make a formal application to the law enforcement agency in the country. They will look for him. They would place him under arrest. They have their own extradition process in that country where he has every right to object to the extradition.
Have you made that request yet?
We are in the process.
Of making the request to the U.S.
For
the law enforcement agencies in the U.S. to actively look for him?
Yeah, not just U.S. because we have to be sure of where he is, and that I cannot disclose, but let's use U.S. as an example. So we would.
He himself has said this in the U.S. So
yeah, he has said a number of things that we have to confirm. So we can't take his word for that.
Well, he says both Iyoko and the NIB are now both looking for the former finance minister. He gave the following details.
And once he comes, he will be arrested on arrival, and then he will be cautioned or charged with the offense. He will be given the right to defend himself like anyone. And the process goes on. Of course, there will be bail consideration, whether to be granted bail and what terms the bail should take, all will be considered, just like any other trial that you've seen.
I mean, the accusation is that now that the AG's department is involved and all of you are political appointees, the OSP isn't. Well, he technically is, but the legal structure that sets him up says he's independent. But you are purely political appointees. And once you are involved, you have an interest just simply beyond justice. That there's also a political interest there, and that's why you're more than willing to trigger the processes to have him looked for in the U.S., arrested, bundled into a plane and brought into Ghana.
We are familiar with the accusation that any prosecution that we commence in respect of politician, a politician tends to be political benefit to us. We are aware of that accusation, but I can tell you it is not true. Because you see...
I mean, you raided his house before this happened.
We searched...
Well, you searched his house
in accordance with the warrant.
According to the warrant, and the individual who led the search is somebody who had a bone and axe to grind with him, Jakba, where he was seen in the CCTV footage. And then you now link back to OSP's actions, and now the Attorney General is involved. This must be a political conspiracy.
That is not correct, because if the Attorney General doesn't do it, who else can do it? There's no other agency.
Why can't the OSP do it himself?
Well, we can look at that and make laws to allow OSP to do some of this. But like I said, the United States is not going to bring anyone here simply because an NDC appointee or the Attorney General wants the person here. There's a whole process for extradition that they will go through. And I don't think that even if we are if our courts are so amenable to just take the word of the Attorney General without scrutiny, I don't think that favor extends to United States, even if that is the case in Ghana. So I can assure you that we are here. The former Minister of Finance is currently in court, right? He is challenging a lot of things. That shows you that he himself has confidence in the judiciary and is willing to explore the options that are available to him. So why should we be more interested in political commentary? In any case, it is not only the OSP that is investigating the former finance minister.
Who else?
Iyoko is doing the same. NIB is doing the same.
What is Iyoko investigating?
I can't give you the details, but it's just enough for us to know that it is not only the OSP that is looking for the cooperation from the former Minister of
Because
Finance.
OSP's, IOCO is economic and organized crime.
Yeah.
They tend to look more with money laundering. Has he been involved in economic crime? Or suspected crime, economic crime?
The investigations will show. I mean, investigations means that there's a suspicion, and we are investigating to establish whether the suspicion is founded or is true or not. So if you ask me whether he's involved, I won't be able to speak to that, but I know there are investigations concerning him in the circles of IOCO.
IOCO, and then NIB as well.
NIB as well.
Do you know what the NIB is looking for?
I cannot disclose.
Is it a duplication of what the OSP is doing? Because OSP has published what they're looking for already. Is it a duplication of that?
No.
Completely separate?
Completely.
Completely separate from
not,
what the OSP is put out?
So long as the Attorney General Office is involved in the coordination, we will not allow one. It's waste of resources, and it's also abuse of the right of a suspect to be dragged before multiple investigating agencies in respect of the same thing. So we will not allow that to happen.
In other words, if it touches down in Ghana today, the OSP will not be the only institution that will be looking to speak to him.
They will not be the only institution. Other institutions will be interested in his assistance in investigation.
You want to catch the full interview with Dr. Justice Mensah on PM Express later tonight from 9 p.m. There's a lot more we spoke about, a lot more revelations in that you do not want to miss. Now, let's stay on the subject of state investigations, because we've also been hearing from the official government spokesperson, Felix Kwachi-Fosu, about Chairman Wuntumi, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the MPP. And he's been disclosing to us that he is currently also under investigations relating to international car stealing syndicate overseas. Listen.
You know that there are two ways to effect an arrest. You can get a warrant to effect the arrest. You can get a search warrant to search somebody. Or a law enforcement official in the shape of a police officer above the rank of a superintendent can arrest you without a warrant if he believes you committed a crime. None of these three principles has been violated in the Wuntumi case. It is not, you see, I solidarized with members of the then Mahama former administration who were taken through law enforcement processes. My friend Kojo was arrested by IOCO. I went to IOCO to visit him, but I did not create a scene. There was no ruckus over his arrest. I just went to ascertain his welfare together with his lawyer. My brother, the Honorable Atufosin, who had been a former deputy finance minister, around Christmas in 2022 was a subject of law enforcement activity. He was cautioned. He was called, questioned, cautioned, his statement taken, and then taken to court. For 2 years, I followed him to court. There are people who have gone through all of that. There are NDC officials who have been convicted. Some of them served prison sentences. Some of them even lost their lives. Soon after that, we have gone through the process. Why is the NPP running away from it? How can you purport to believe in the rule of law and then fail to subject yourself to it and scream your lungs out the moment law enforcement officials lawfully do their work? Show me, where is the violation of Wuntumi's right? Again, bail, the Wuntumi situation.
Yeah,
what happened?
Can you slap 50
because
million CDs?
there have been times when, number one, what was his bail condition? Was it not $1 billion Ghana cedis? The Atu ACN case, it was over 200 million Ghana cedis, if I'm not mistaken. Because it was commensurate with the alleged offense. Wuntumi is accused of misappropriating tens of millions of Ghana cedis. There is a road that he was given a contract to do on. He claims to have done 50%, but assessments by appropriate officials show that it was around 18%. He is alleged to have taken money from a state institution to do a farm.
Was he fully paid for that road?
He's been paid for the level of work that he says he has done. But law enforcement officials have looked into the matter and found that he didn't do what he says he has done. He is alleged to have taken money from a state entity to engage in some farming activity. He hasn't done it. Part of the money was actually a grant, which was a freebie to him. He still hasn't done it.
The farm?
The farm.
How much is it?
I think it was in the region of $10 million or so. He is alleged, as I speak to you, to be engaged in some overseas stolen car syndication by law enforcement officials.
And was bringing it into Ghana?
Yes, that's the allegation.
So that is what IOCO is investigating?
So IOCO is looking into it, among other matters. I don't think that anything has been done that violates. You see, so he was arrested. A bail condition was set. You can go to court and seek to vary it.
Well, Henry Nanabuachi is the MPP national organizer. He's a lawyer himself, joins us on the line right now. And Henry, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. Surprised to learn tonight, as far as the former finance minister is concerned, Ken Ofori-Atta, that he is also wanted by both IOCO and NIB?
Thank you very much, Ivan. Ivan, sorry to commence my interview with a question. Were you able to ask the Deputy Attorney General as to the status, the update regarding the journey of extradition with regard to the former Maslok CEO, Ferdinand Tamaklo? Were you able to ask him that question? Hello, Ivan.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. You expecting me to
I'm
answer?
asking whether you were able to ask the Deputy Attorney General whether they have started or whether they are still in the process of triggering the extradition processes regarding Ferdinand Tamaklo.
That wasn't the subject of our conversation, no.
Okay, you see, this is where I find the whole thing disingenuous. We have a competent court making a specific announcement on Ferdinand Tamaklo that she has misappropriated 72 million Ghana cedis. Just when she was being transferred, she sought permission to seek medical attention inside. As we speak, she has not returned. The court has made definite pronouncement, and she's been convicted. So I find it very hypocritical, very disingenuous. Or at this same office,
but Henry, this Ferdinand Tamaklo thing is something that was under your watch. Did you file an extradition?
No, what I'm saying is that it was under our watch. She sought permission to seek medical attention outside, and she's been convicted. And as we speak, the former Attorney General, just before we exited, Deputy Attorney General hinted that they have started the extradition process to bring her back to the country to face the consequences of her actions.
So if they have filed, if indeed he did so, this is a
the
continuum.
principle
So
is this. No, I'm establishing a certain principle.
That extradition process is already
if you find
active.
time, ask him again. But this is the principle. The principle is that this is where the laws of the land work to its fullest. It's finished of its work. Somebody is supposed to be brought back to the jurisdiction, and the Attorney General will leave that person. Ferdinand Tamaklo has been found to misappropriated 72 million. That is not the concern of Simkai. No.
Again, Henry, keeping them honest, this conviction, from what I know, happened in April 2024. You had several. No, it's an important point. It's an important point. I mean, you had months to trigger the process to ensure that she is repatriated, extradited back to Ghana. You are asking that another government should do it, but if you indeed trigger the process, then that extradition process is active now, is it not? It goes without saying.
Some of these divergent views. Look, you are now trying to start an extradition process to bring back Ofori-Atta, who has disclosed his whereabouts, is given the facility. In fact, his lawyers are in direct correspondence with any institution whatsoever. He's not running away from justice. You are rather concentrating on that person, but you have left the lady Ferdinand Tamaklo, who misappropriated 72 million Ghana cedis of our money. He's been convicted, duly convicted by the court. Simsai is not interested in that matter.
I mean, first of all, you're not. We both of us speaking right now don't know what they are doing about Sedna Tamaklu, because as you asked the question, it wasn't the subject of our conversation. But second, are you suggesting that even granted that they're not doing that, the state cannot begin extradition processes for Ken Ofori-Atta to be returned to face questions on his tenure and account for it?
Evans, the principle is that you can even bring Ken Ofori-Atta. He can choose not to talk. It is within his right. I honestly do not understand this thesis. I don't understand it. Look, if you think that
you don't understand why a state agency is seeking to extradite a former finance minister to return to Ghana to answer questions about investigations that are currently underway. You don't understand why that is needed.
Even what I'm trying to say is that if they have enough evidence, they should go to court. Fortunately for us, we have sitting in our books far in absentia. Go to court. Because even if you are saying
that they can do both. The OSP has said they will pursue that, but they can also begin the extradition process.
Evans, what I'm saying is that it is not needed. Somebody has been convicted. You are not interested in that. This person, you've not even charged him.
The Sedna Tamaklu case has no relations with what they are doing currently with the OSP investigation.
Very, very critical. I'm surprised.
He has no relationship with it. I'm asking a question directly about Ken Ofori-Atta.
It's an important matter. I was even expecting you, Evans. I'm coming. Evans, I was even expecting you to ask him, because we were talking about extradition.
It wasn't a subject of our conversation. We're talking about Ken Ofori-Atta. Well, that's your view.
You don't want me to talk. Then
no,
fine.
I'm asking you a question.
I am establishing a principle. What I'm trying to say
is that you made a point.
If you had a conversation on extradition, you should have asked him.
It wasn't a subject. It wasn't the subject of our conversation. And I choose.
So it is my view.
No, that's fine.
It is my view that once you were talking about extradition, and we have had a court making a definite pronouncement on Sedna Tamaklu.
That is your view.
Convicted.
It's more fundamentally to the subject of that conversation, which is why I called you.
What I'm trying to say is that
you've made the point.
Look,
yes. You are not opposed to what the state is trying to do.
I am not opposed. The reason why I'm saying so is that, look, you can even bring the person can choose not to talk. He can remain silent throughout the interrogation. If you have enough evidence to pin the person down, you go to court. He's not running away from justice. His lawyers and he himself, he's been in direct correspondence with any investigative body. He's indicated his address, the medical facility he's seeking medical assistance from. So what is the issue here? So that is why I'm saying that even the next time you meet him, I ask him, because the court has ruled that Sedna Tamaklu is a criminal.
On Chairman Wontumi, we've heard from the government spokesperson that a part of the investigation is also involved looking into an alleged syndicate that he may be involved in when it comes to stealing of cars. How is he? Is he still cooperating with the IOCO and still attending to IOCO's investigations as and when he's needed?
Ivan, the journalist also say that he's also being investigated for some facility he secured from state institution. Did you say that?
Yeah, he mentioned a host of facilities that he had secured that he says are projects have not been executed.
Even since when did a contractual obligation in securing a facility from the bank, since when did that constitute a criminal offense? Look, we are in this country. Do not forget that UMB mentioned that the president's brother, Ibrahim Muhammad, is on record. He was owing 40-something million. Who arrested him? Who arrested him? I'm surprised how government spokesperson can impugn criminality on a contractual relationship between Wontumi and a bank. How is that a criminal offense?
And that is what is being investigated. Nanabacha, thank you very much. He's the national organizer of the NPP. So listen to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, to more action by state agencies, particularly the Special Prosecutor's Office, the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML, they've strongly condemned the recent raid on its offices by the Office of the Special Prosecutor and accused the officers who executed the particular raid of assaulting its staff. Now, SML has described the operation as unjustified and without a warrant. My colleague, Papania Shale, was there for us yesterday, joins us in the studio with more. Yesterday, we know 3 directors were picked up. We are now told that the number could be higher. What else do we know?
Let's start with the number of people that were arrested. It says that 4 employees in a statement that they released were arrested. We also told that they were all released on bail. Also, they add that 2 of their staff were assaulted in the process of the raid. The operation resulted in a removal of damage of servers and IT infrastructure, technical equipment, including gold analyzers, which were yet to be released. They tell us files and proprietary documents, including trade-sensitive systems. The company now also says that many of these items form the backbone of their ongoing service to the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, particularly in real-time petroleum monitoring and transaction audits, Evans.
So that is the very latest. But what's your concern with how that raid was conducted?
Well, in the statement, they talk about how this raid was done. In some of the conversations we've had, they tell us that when some of these people came in, instances where people were asked for passwords to some of their servers, and those who were not forthcoming with it, some of them were physically assaulted. And again, they were used force to retrieve some of their drives and also put some of their servers offline. They've raised concerns, especially about the revenue that this may cost, not just to the company, but also to the state, which is GRA. And it says that the company says that based on the transactions they have done since they came online until now, we may possibly losing 348 million Ghana cedis every month if their systems don't come back online, Evans.
Let's speak to the spokesperson for SML. She joins us on the line, Sewa Sapon. Sewa, thanks for your time here on Newsnight and joins us on Zoom. The OSP was very clear to us when we checked that they indeed had a warrant. You were not shown that warrant. Hello, Sewa. Okay, we don't seem to have her attention. We will get that for you to get clarity on the accusations that they've made against the OSP following that raid on their offices. I want to hear from you, 055-1111-997. And George Jaffe is joining me with business now. George, what do you have in the headlines?
Well, Evans, coming up in business, Statistical Service describes first quarter growth estimates as signs that the economy is but downplays the impact of current global tariff war on the country. And Bank of Ghana warns public against dealing with unlicensed digital platforms, Yellow Card and Honey Pay. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244-308-111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy. With individually registered companies, our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value value in every deal. Call us on 0302 551 917 or 0302 551 918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, dear Niham Sa. Stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You it's now check. Nihian it's now check. No, be a baby, someone some demoni in us. Dear Niham say. Fair quiet, yes, in Biara Association Ontario. Uses Stay Soft and Nihian it's now check. Nani boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. A year near says, sir. Choose to Stay Soft. No who's so say, no. FDIG a dreading crowd to yatu.
Sasso, tonton preko. Sasso, tonton preko. Edrana drami nebu seshe. Yeah, hakasia ne malaria. Minya me kone me sasso spray. Every mosquito study run away. Tonton preko. Sasso, mi se kumen tonton preko. Kumen tonton preko. Sasso, kum tonton preko. Nani shamne die edemu stronko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, activities in the agri sector for the first quarter of this year picked up strongly. This, which is the first time in a long while, helped the economy grow by 5.3% from January to March this year. There is more in this report.
The Ghana Statistical Service data showed that the agri sector recorded the highest growth of 6.6% for the first quarter of this year. This is the highest expansion compared to other sectors like services and industry. Some of the areas that will be of interest when it comes to agri sector's expansion was cocoa, which for the first time in recent times grew by 3.4%, followed by the fashion subsector, which also grew by more than 16%. It was followed by the services sector, which contributed about half of the growth for the first 3 months of this year. However, the same cannot be said for industry. The sector slowed to 3.4%, influenced by little activities in the oil and gas sectors of the economy. In terms of shares, the economy is still dominated by the services sector, commanding about 46.8% of the economy. It was followed by the industry sector with 29.7%. The agri sector, on the other hand, only accounted for 23.5% in terms of its share of the economy. The first quarter GDP estimate also revealed that the the economy may have even expanded by more than 6% if you take away the oil sector's contribution. A development some industry watchers say may indicate that the economy is really doing well. But despite the challenges with the industry sector, the manufacturing subsector expanded by more than 6% for the first 3 months of this year.
And that is a business desk report. Meanwhile, government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu has indicated that the first quarter growth numbers show that the economy is recovering. He's also revealed that the numbers show that the current growth numbers have not been impacted by the current global tariff war.
If you look at GDP projection for 2025, I think the budget, Ministry of Finance projected about 4% for 2025 for GDP for this year. Now, first quarter has posted 5.3%. So what this means is that all other things being equal, if things are to go the way we've seen in the first quarter, government of Ghana is on course to achieving its growth target. In fact, if you look at other jurisdictions, IMF, World Bank, they are all projecting GDP around the 4%. Some are slightly above the 4%.
Government statistician Dr. Hassan Idrisu. Let's still stay on the sector because economist Professor Peter Kojo has described the performance of the agri sector as surprising.
Dig a bit, you realize that the crops also did quite well, but quite surprising, food prices still remain high despite the growth in crops production. So it means we need to investigate what is causing this high food prices on the market. Is it transportation or what exactly is the cause? And I think that's where we need to deep dive into and unearth some of these issues. Then we also find fishing growing by about 16%. Did the close season help? Or, that's also quite an interesting area to look into.
And that is economist Professor Peter Kojo. Now, the Bank of Ghana is warning the public against dealing with unlicensed digital platform that is Yellow Card and HoneyPay. Now, this was captured in a statement issued by the central bank earlier today. There is more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana, in a statement, maintained it had to issue this notice because Yellow Card Financial Incorporated, operators of Yellow Pay platform, which has been actively promoting itself as a provider of payment services and cross-border remittance solutions, has not been licensed by the central bank. It again revealed in the notice that the same Yellow Card Financial Incorporated is said to have entered into collaboration with HoneyPay to develop and integrate a new stablecoin, AKL Lumi, into the global financial ecosystem. The Bank of Ghana argues that HoneyPay has also not been given any approval to operate within the Ghanaian jurisdiction, hence anything from them should be seen as illegal. The central bank is therefore warning the public, financial institutions and all relevant stakeholders to desist from any engagement with Yellow Card Financial Incorporated and HoneyPay Ghana. This is because all these institutions don't have approval to operate in the country.
And that is a business desk report. Now, collateral registry of the Bank of Ghana has revealed that it has registered over 330,000 collateral interest in 2024. Now, this brings the total registration to over 1.4 million since its inception in 2010. Now, speaking of the launch of the 15th anniversary of the registry, Registrar Fred Siamakorantin said they are expanding their operations to cover rural economies.
Overall, as at the end of 2024, the registry had registered over 1.4 million security interests with an average growth rate of 31.5%. Indeed, the registry registers approximately 9,000 security interests every week. This is not just a statistic. It is a story of empowerment, of economic opportunity, and of a better future. The registry, having grown from an emerging outfit to a cornerstone of Ghana's credit infrastructure, has significantly contributed to the creation of an enabling environment for countless micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to access credit that was once beyond their reach.
Now, Fred Siamakorantin is the registrar, the collateral registry at the Bank of Ghana. Now, the acting chief executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Gordon Tamaklo, says plans are underway to repeal the current act regulating the petroleum sector. Speaking at the 2025 Safety Week celebration hosted by the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, he explained that the new legal framework will be more progressive and better positioned to support the sector's growth.
Our regulatory agenda for the industry includes, we want to repeal the current act, which is almost 20 years. And we always say that the industry is always ahead of the regulator. So after 20 years of enactment, we need to sit down quietly and try and see if we can tweak the current MPA Act and see if we can make it a bit more progressive to meet the needs of our people 20 years down the line.
Godwin Tamaklo is the acting chief executive of the National Petroleum Authority. Let's turn our attention to the stock market. And if you're a shareholder of MTN, the value of share that you're holding today was up by 2 pesos and is now worth 2 Ghana cedis, 85 pesos. That was at the end of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. If you've also invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange, returns now stands at more than 24%. That's still better than other investment instruments currently on the market. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George, thank you very much. Still live here on Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. I will be sharing your thoughts with the rest of the world pretty shortly. 0551111 Let's return to our earlier story about the OSP's raid on the offices of SML. The company has issued a statement claiming that the OSP did this without a warrant and that some of its staff were assaulted. The Director of Support Services at the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, Sewa Sapon, is on Zoom with us. Thank you, Sewa, for your time here on Newsnight. We lost you earlier. But quickly on the subject of the warrant, the OSP is very clear that this was carried out and it was an execution of a search warrant. They had one. You were not shown a copy.
Good evening to you, Evans. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, good evening to you and to your cherished listeners. So we want to place on record that we didn't see any warrant or be served to our staff in any meaningful way or verifiable way during the raid. In Osu, when they went there, they said they had a court order. When our officer there asked them, you want to search this place, what do you have? They said they have a court order. Give it to us, and the person walks away. In Tema, when they went there, our officer that they met said they pointed something to her, not something that they allowed her to read or verify in any way or even take a copy. So we don't have a retained copy of the search document that they claim they have, which is the warrant that was obtained way back in April. We don't know which year, 30th April. And this undermines procedural integrity of the operation that went on yesterday in our place.
I mean, the OSP had told us and confirmed to us that indeed had a warrant duly issued to them by a court of competent jurisdiction. There are laid-on processes for seeking redress. Have you triggered any? Because you have legal rights here.
We don't have any warrant. We don't have a copy of any warrant. We don't know the content of the warrant. We don't have any.
Are you seeking redress formally through your lawyers?
Oh yes, we are on the table. We are consulting. We are preparing ourselves to go to court.
You've also said that some of your staff members were assaulted.
Yes.
How exactly did this happen?
Yes. So in Osu, they didn't assault them, but in Tema, the force that was used there is traumatic. When they asked the field officers, give us access to the server room. The server room is a security zone, it's locked. A field officer don't have access to a server room. They don't have password to the server room. So they broke the server room, the door to the server room, which is a security door, and then asked them, give us the password. You are hiding the password away from us. Give us the password. Others, when they saw military men, they were traumatized. They were trying to, their personal computers that they have brought to work, they were trying to put it in their desk, and they went through the CCTV camera, and then they slapped them. Those who they are requesting from, they are requesting password from them. They are using the guns to slap them. And
you have verified these claims?
When they still didn't have, because they don't have the password. This is what they did. They handcuffed them, make them to sit under the sun, on the pavement, on the compound.
I'm asking if you verify the claim that they were slapped.
We've captured some. The CCTV also has some.
And you've seen
We have
evidence.
CCTV
Yeah, you
across.
do.
Yes,
I know you do. You've seen evidence of your
yes,
staff
because
being
it's
slapped.
captured on camera. These actions, as much as we could, because they asked everybody to put their phones down. There is no phone. It's just an overwhelming exertion of force and aggression to people who have been corresponding to a company. Look, Evans, OSP wrote to us on the 13th of March requesting for documents and information. That was a list, a lot of items that they were asking. So as we were preparing ourselves, we asked our legal team to write to them to let them know that we are still preparing. So we will bring it. They wrote to them on the 20th of March to tell them that our clients are preparing. They will bring this. They've told us to let you know. They'll bring it on 27th. And 27th, we sent the documents to them. We further told them that if you need any further explanation, if you need anything from us, let us know. We are willing to cooperate and help because SML, we have nothing to hide. So we are waiting for any further explanation or further information that we should add to the investigation to support what they are doing.
So you say they proceed. Go on.
Yes, only for us to hear to see them bring a joint force security operatives to our facilities, both in Tema and also traumatizing young staff who have come to work, doing their jobs.
For clarity, OSP wrote to you on the 13th of March, asking for 13th
yes.
of March, correct? They're
yes.
Asking
yes.
for you to provide some information to them.
Yes.
Did you provide everything they asked for?
We provided information that we have, contractual obligation to.
So you did not provide everything they asked for?
No, there are some of them that is not in our jurisdiction. We don't have them. So we told them the ones that we have, we've given you. And the ones that we don't have, you can go to this place, to GRA or Ministry of Finance, because we work under them. They employed us for them. So we gave every information that is within our contractual obligation to OSP. If there was need for any extra information, we have indicated in the letter that accompanied the documents to say that, let us know. We will give you every information that you need.
Since yesterday, have you been told formally what the OSP and the team that came there were looking for?
No. We don't know what they are looking for, but by all indication, that was a destructive operation to impact our operation, to stop us from operating, because they've taken all the servers that are running or housing, national data for revenue.
Well, with a warrant, they can do that.
Have you not seen the videos?
Well, if they have a warrant, they can search and seize.
If they have a warrant, they can.
And OSP says
we don't know what the warrant entails.
And very quickly, just before we wrap up, do you plan to take any further action?
Oh yes.
What action?
Evans, why not? Because the SML systems, government has not paid a single dollar into our operations. The systems and everything that we developed is by us. We invest in it. The contract that we have with GRA is a risk and reward based contract, which means that SML bears all the costs, including providing facilities, everything. What the government does, which is GRA does, is to give us our pay, the salary for the month. Just as every worker, when you work and in the month, you are paid for your salary. So if there is an issue, if you think that there is a contractual breach, there is anything that you have an issue with, You don't come and take private property.
So what action do you plan to take then?
Intellectual properties that he has taken away and exposing them to IP theft.
What action do you plan to take then?
Exploitation. We are going to court. That is the only way for OSP to explain to us what is in his warrant. What is he looking for that we couldn't give to him when if he has used the right procedure to do that, rather than to pounce on us as if we are criminals?
I'm grateful that there is a director of support services at the Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, Sewa Sapon. Let's look sports now. Ms. Bao is here with the latest.
Yeah, Evans. Well, we're just some 4 days away from 2 major events. One in Ghana is the MTN FA Cup final between Golden Cakes and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Kotoko finished the Ghana Premier League season in 3rd place and are very much hoping to play in Africa, and they will be looking to do that through the FA Cup route, where they will get to represent Ghana in the CAF Confederations Cup. But they will first have to defeat Golden Cakes, a Division 1 side who have been very good this season, the FA Cup. In fact, they defeated Heart of Folk in the lead-up to the final. Well, their Chief Executive Officer, Joseph Epton, has been speaking about his team's chances. He's very confident about defeating Kotoko. However, skeptical if they can go on to represent Ghana in Africa.
Nothing will be too special than to win the FA Cup in style, and then you were able to beat Kotoko and Heart of Folk, the 2 biggest clubs in Ghana. I mean, it's a big history element. So that's what we're focusing on, and then we know on Sunday against Kotoko. That is for sure. Most of the clubs, we cannot go to Africa, and it's about financing. But we have to play. So for us, it's first to win the cup, which is the objective, and then we'll look at how to get sponsorship to go and play in Africa.
That's the CEO of Golden Cakes, Joseph Epton. And as I mentioned, on Sunday also is the commencement of the Club World Cup, and that's going to see some 32 club teams playing in the USA for very, very good money, almost 1 billion total prize money there for all the clubs. So Evans will be keeping tabs on that tournament. We understand Chelsea already on the way to the USA, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan have all arrived, but notably Manchester United, Liverpool, Barcelona are not in the tournament. And of course,
how do they select the teams?
Well, there's a whole criteria which, among other things, you look at the coefficient of the team's performance, coefficient based on their performance of the Champions League in the last, 7 to 10 years. And based on that, teams like, Liverpool and Manchester United in the Champions League in that period haven't done well. So, and also the past winners of the Champions League in recent time. That's why Chelsea got there, because they won the Champions League recently. So, yeah, so it's going to be a 4, just like the World Cup will be played every 4 years. So hopefully in the next 4 years, Man United will be there. We'll see.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bao. Now, after 34 years of mastering his craft at Kumasi Technical Institute, Mukhtar Saidu has embarked on a mission to design and manufacture eco-friendly gas stoves, roasters and boilers tailored specifically for Ghanaian households. John News' Mohammed Nuruddin visited his engineering shop at Kumasi Magazine and now reports for Climate Focus.
Meet Mukhtar Saidu, a Ghanaian fabricator on a mission to reduce air pollution. Mukhtar believes that collective action can spark transformative change.
In a month, our team is able to manufacture about 500 stoves given our current workforce. Interestingly, we often receive customers who purchase these stoves as soon as we complete production. As you can see, our efforts are not only beneficial to individuals but also contribute positively to the country. Looking ahead, I firmly believe that within a decade, we can significantly reduce the country's reliance on firewood, thereby promoting a more sustainable and environmentally friendly practice.
According to studies, charcoal and firewood contribute to emissions, particularly in developing countries, but there is a cleaner alternative. Mukhtar says his products are durable, cost-effective, and produce less emissions.
If we continue to refine our manufacturing process, I'm confident that our product will attract an even larger customer base.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, Bridging Gaps for Positive Youth Development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, authorities have arrested 9 individuals, including students and invigilators, for allegedly engaging in examination malpractices during the first day of the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE. The suspects were reportedly caught cheating or aiding in practices at various examination centers. The head of public affairs at WAEC, John Kapi, says the incident occurred in Greater Accra, Bono, and Bono East regions.
Right. So far we have received a report of about 9 persons who have been handed over to the law enforcement agencies. Some of them were supervisors. One was a supervisor. We had about 6 invigilators and 3 people who were not directly related to the examination, but who found themselves, trying to assist the candidates in a way. So we had one in the Greater Accra region, we had one in the Ahafo region, and then we had 3 in Bono region, and I think 5 from Bono East. Okay, yes, we have heard about, but usually would depend on our personnel to send us formal reports of these pregnancy issues. But so far we haven't received any of those formal reports yet, so we are unable to report how many of them. But yes, there are a number of them who are pregnant, so we've heard.
John Kapi speaks for the West African Examination Council. And just before we go, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has ruled out referring MP for Efijasa Sokori and ranking member on the Health Committee, Dr. Nana Ayew Afriye, to Parliament's Privileges Committee. Now, this decision follows a clash between Dr. Ayew Afriye and First Deputy Speaker Bernard Ahiafo on Tuesday. The incident occurred when Dr. Ayew Afriye was denied the opportunity to make an urgent statement on the ongoing nurses' strike. The Minority Caucus expressed strong objections, leading to chaos on the floor of Parliament. Now, despite the tensions, the Speaker has opted not to escalate the matter to the Privileges Committee. And that's it for News Night. Tonight you can catch all the stories on myjoyonline.com, also across our many social media platforms, including What's Up Next. Strong and Sassy is live on our Facebook, YouTube, X channels. And the lady who drives it all is here with me anymore.
Hi Evans, how are you?
I'm doing well. You?
I'm good. So you've heard the phrase soft life?
Oh, yeah.
It sounds really nice to have a soft life. Who funds the soft life? That's the question.
A man.
Again, why must it be so?
Well, I guess women will say that's the natural order of things.
I see. Anyway, tonight we're talking
about...
But
I'm looking for a woman to give me
to
soft
give
life.
you this. I know you deserve the soft life, don't you? We all do. But tonight we're talking about the soft life. Is it a thing of freedom? Is it a fantasy? Is it pressure? What exactly is it? And how do we achieve it?
So give me a typical example of what will constitute soft life.
I think soft life is different from everyone. Soft life for me is being able to pay my children's school fees without worrying.
Okay, so
has nothing to do with
if I can pay your school fees, but I say tomorrow I'm going to give you and pay their school fees for the next 10 years, that would be soft life.
My first question would be, what would it cost me? Because the things that come free are a lot of times much more expensive than the things that you actually have to pay for. So I would like to work and pay my children's school fees knowing that I don't owe anybody any favors, especially. That's the soft life.
This
for
lunch
me.
is free.